but I've got something to get off my chest. And I voted for Donald Trump. What I personally liked was this out of endless wars in the future kind of thing. But it seems we're now talking tough in several parts of the world. But now we're resurrecting something we really shouldn't be proud of. My next video is about manifest destiny. It has nothing to do with our current administration, and I'm just passing history in that video. I actually thought we'd talk about history to keep from repeating it. But
So like a curious traveler on a quest, we embark upon a journey of information. Stay with us for a ride into knowledge.
manifest destiny is in our history as our idea, just like the Israelites' history of God-given right to take over a land or push westward and onward. Some of our president's comments have been about modern-day expansionism, absorbing Greenland, making Canada the 51st state, taking over the Panama Canal, and also taking over the Gaza Strip. The president is now suggesting to his administration to consider expansionism, to not be a sliver of history, but a matter for here and now. He said the spirit of the frontier is written into our hearts.
So anyway, in 1845, an unsigned article in a popular American journal, a long-standing Jacksonian publication, the Democratic Review, issued an unmistakable call for an American expansionism, focusing mainly on bringing the Republic of Texas into the Union. It declared the expansion represented the fulfillment of our manifest destiny to overspread the continent allotted by Providence for the free development of our yearly multiplying millions. Thus, a powerful American slogan was born. Manifest destiny became our first and foremost call and justification for an American form of imperialism, and neatly summarized the goals of the Mexican War. It claimed that American had a destiny manifest, which is self-evident from God, to occupy North American continent south of Canada. Guess somebody already had a flag in Canada. Manifest destiny was also clearly a racial doctrine of white supremacy, no Native American or non-white claims to any permanent possession of the lands on the North American continent, and justified white expropriation of Indian lands. Manifest destiny was also a key slogan deployed in the United States imperial ventures in the 1890s and the early years of the 20th century that led to United States possession and control over Hawaii and the Philippine Islands. But it was not simply a cloak for American imperialism and a justification for America's territorial ambitions. It was also firmly anchored in a long-standing and deep sense of a special and unique American destiny. The notion that there was some provincial purpose to the European discovery and eventual conquest of the land masses so-called discovered by Christopher Columbus was present from the very beginning. Both the Spanish and the French monarchs authorized and financed exploration of the so-called New World, because among other things they considered it their divinely appointed mission to spread Christianity by converting the natives. Whoa, God told them to. You can get people to do almost anything if you tell them God's on their side. I mean, you can get them to almost do anything anyway, but if you tell them God's on their side, then they start thinking they're right. This way of thinking started around 1731 when the Ecclesiastical Society of New Canaan, Connecticut was established. It was the forerunner to the town of New Canaan. It was worth noting simply because of its name and what it says about the mindset of our early settlers. They saw their community as the New Canaan, the new Promised Land. They and many, many other new arrivals took the story of God's promise to Israel in the Hebrew Scriptures and made it a divine promise that somehow also applied to America. The book of Joshua starts with these words of commission to Joshua, the successor of Moses, the one who will lead the people of Israel into the land of Canaan, the promised land, so that they might take possession of it. And there was only one problem with this scenario. This land was already inhabited. How then do we hear these words? After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, he spoke to Joshua, son of Nun, the assistant of Moses, saying, My servant Moses is dead. Now proceed to cross the Jordan, you and all his people, into the land that I am giving to them, to the Israelites, every place that the sole of your foot will tread upon, I have given to you, as I promised to Moses from the wilderness, and the Lebanon as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, to the great sea in the west, shall be your territory. No one shall be able to stand against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not fail you or forsake you. Be strong and courageous, for you shall put this people in possession of the land that I swore to their ancestors to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, being careful to act in accordance with all the law that my servant Moses commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, so that you may be successful wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, and you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to act in accordance with all that is written in it. For then you shall make your way prosperous, and then you shall be successful. I hereby command you, be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened or dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Now, more specifically, as you ponder these words, how might they speak to an American view of itself? Now back to the principle of manifest destiny. It is the principle that propelled a nation across the continent. It is also a principle that displaced and dispossessed the peoples who lived in that land. Yeah, the stories of the Trail of Tears and the many Indian wars that colored the move west. They are reminders of the cost of manifest destiny. And I think manifest destiny itself was constructed from the building blocks of a more primal narrative, the story of conquest of Canaan in the book of Joshua. Now, the narratives follow many of the same themes. At the heart of it all is the story of the conquest of the indigenous peoples and the appropriation of the land's bounty by fear and mass killing. Many Americans see the nation's history as one of divine mandate and protection. We are the city on the hill, the elect, the called ones. This sentiment leads many to ignore the dark side of our history, the genocide of the Native American population, the enslavement of Africans, Jim Crow, segregation, incarceration of Japanese citizens, imperialist control of the Philippines, and so on. The book of Joshua details how the Israelites conquered Canaan, the promised land given to the Jews in God's covenant with Abraham. It is a story of miracles and bloody battles and dividing the land among 12 tribes. Characterized as a historical account, the book of Joshua tells how leaders' obedience to God resulted in divine help in the face of overwhelming odds. And if you remember your book of Numbers, it was a bloody venture that Joshua undertook. So let's finish with a piece of Yahweh's instructions. Now Yahweh spoke to Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan, across from Jericho, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you have crossed the Jordan into the land of Canaan, then you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land before you. Destroy all their engraved stones. Destroy all their molded images, and demolish all their high places. You shall dispose the inhabitants of the land, and dwell in it. For I have given you the land to possess. But if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then it shall be that those whom you let remain shall be irritants in your eyes, and thorns in your side, and they shall harass you in the land where you dwell. Moreover, it shall be that I will do to you as I thought to do to them. Holy Magalande! Maybe Joshua did serve as a mirror for the early Americans. Men of that day sure thought that God said that they could take the land for their own. And never mind the souls to be lost. After all, it's our manifest destiny.
Just more food for thought.
Thanks for watching this and all our videos. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until we meet again, stay curious, fellow travelers, and have a great day.